Tonight, the slot car keeps coming off the track. The abdication of the Egyptian king. And our special guest is Paul Khan, chair of Spirit of Shankly. He'll be talking about all sorts of things, including ticket prices. And if you're watching live on YouTube, you can get involved in the show. Just send us a comment. I might read it out. I'm Graham Mack, and this is the YouTube version of Read All Over the Land, the longest lasting and only surviving Liverpool fanzine in its 31st year. The creator and the editor is John Pearman. Good evening, John.
Good evening.
How are things in fanzine world, John?
Getting a bit wet and soggy because it seems now that we're a bit like cricket used to be. Every time the umpires used to go out at a cricket game, it rained. And every time we take the fanzine out, it seems to rain. You know, we could have a midsummer's day selling the fanzine, it'd still rain. That's how it's been this season. We've never had a year like it.
But you've also sold it to people who've gone like that with it straight away, haven't you, John? So it does have its uses at the match.
Yeah. We had one guy recently buy one off Martin, and he didn't like the cover, so he paid his £2 and ripped the cover off. So I don't know. Yeah, so these things are happening, but that's life. Yeah.
Well, as well as being semi-waterproof and having a removable cover, don't forget that there are some great articles in here. And in the latest one, I mean, obviously there's yours, John, and the editorial's always good. There's a particularly good article in here by John Mackin that I really enjoyed. So I don't know if John's watching or if you want to pass that on to him, John, but I really did enjoy John Mackin's contribution to it.
You'll watch eventually. Yeah, that was when he and Jagsy Dodge wrote a book, and they called it A Season on the Drink, because there was another book came out, A Season on the Brink, when we nearly won the league. We've done that a few times, haven't we? Yeah. So they called it A Season on the Drink, and I worried about John's health that season. Yeah, but for the obvious reasons. But that was a brilliant book, and I asked him to share a chapter from it, and the one he picked was a day at Villa Park, where started drinking in a pub outside Anfield, went on the Spirit of Shankly bus to the game, and when he went into the pub, the person behind the bar serving was about 6. She was standing on a crate.
But she was brilliant
as well.
Yeah. That's just one of the articles, because it's for the fans and it's by the fans. Read All Over the Land. You'll get it. You can subscribe at readallovertheland.com, and also it'll be on sale on Saturday at the Man City game.
No, the Legends game.
Oh, Saturday. The Legends game on Saturday, and then of course, the away at Man City. Yeah, okay.
But there's also an article in there by the Spirit of Shankly talking about how things are going on. Something that everybody should be thinking about, and that is the price of a match ticket, and that's why Paul's here tonight. But there is one bit of good news on the ticketing front, nothing to do with Liverpool. Nottingham Forest have froze their prices for another season, and their prices have gone sky high over the last few years. So that's something. At least they've come on board.
All right, well, that's a good way to get into our special guest, which is Paul Khan, chair of the Fans Union, Spirit of Shankly. Before we get to the nitty-gritty and the ticket prices, Paul, let's do a bit of background about you. How come you're a Red?
Oh, basically, I've been going since 1966. My dad started taking me when I was 3. We just basically lived down the road, off Anfield Road, Clapham Road. So I've been going ever since then. My dad indoctrinated me, and there's 11 of us who go in the cop every week. I call my season ticket the passport to peace. 19 guaranteed days out with the lads and that, I've been lucky to see all the highs and obviously the lows, Heysel and Hillsborough, and they weren't pleasant for obviously different reasons, but just had brilliant times watching Liverpool Football Club, and it's all about the fans for me. It's all about the atmosphere and the experience, and when you think we went 30 years without winning the league, but everybody was still going every week. like because it's just in your DNA. Like, yeah, I mean, my old fella, when he came to Liverpool, he originally lived in Sheffield. He moved here when he was about 14 or 15. So he started watching both Liverpool and Everton, and Liverpool were in the second division. Like, but he decided he wanted to support Liverpool. Thank God. Like, so yeah. So I'll always be grateful for that. He's no longer with us anymore. Like, but thanks very much, Dad.
And that has led on to you being the chair of Spirit of Shankly, which, in case people don't know, it's a fans' union. And the goal is to make sure that members are heard and listened to and to hold Liverpool FC to account. Are Liverpool FC listening at the moment?
I would say I have to be careful because there's an end date at the moment. We've been in ticket negotiations with them. Like, there's going to be an announcement imminent. Um, do I think basically they've been constructive conversations? No, I don't. Um, we've placed the, we've said why we feel, we're past the stop exploiting loyalty. We actually created that. Like, we raised a motion at the Football Supporters Association. The aims of that are a ticket price freeze and affordable football, end the attack on concessions, protects the match going culture, and support local campaigns. And the 19, there's 115 different supporters groups who've signed up for that, and we've all asked our clubs for a 2-year price freeze. Um, just let me give a little bit of logic behind that. I'll actually quote Shankly. He said, the socialism I believe in is everyone working for each other, everyone having a share of the rewards. It's the way I see football. It's the way I see life. Now, if you think that Liverpool have just basically posted record revenues of 702 million, 17% up since 2024, like surely we wanted a price reduction, but that's what we originally asked them for. But we said a price freeze would be the least that we would expect. You've made a lot of money, like, and yeah, basically the supporters help create. That's what they sell the cop, don't they? Like, the club basically, you know, the, everything is sold on the back of the cop and the atmosphere. Even though we all know it's not as good as it was because of the influx of tourists and different things like that. I wouldn't say out of towns because there's lots of people from out of town who are great Reds who go every week. The likes of John and yourself, Graham, and basically like, people traveling over from Ireland. But we can all see it. It's a particular, what's his name with John, isn't it? The half and half scarves, if you read his fanzine. Like, he absolutely hates it. And, 17% of the ground now is corporate, and, should that. So it makes sense that like, you look after the people, like, who've helped create this club. We are integral to the club. We go through rain and shine, win or lose. Like, not like Ruddock said it, the booze. Like, but yeah, we're there every week. And as I said, the club trade on the cop. And one of the things I like to say is, if we think about some of the famous grounds in Europe, for example, if I said to you the San Siro or the Nou Camp or the Bernabeu, what's their old one called? Does anyone know?
I know what the Milan ones. It's the north south, north curve and the south curve, but that's what they have in Italy, isn't it? The curves.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that the cop, a little bit like Dortmund and the yellow wall, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
It's it's iconic. It's iconic, and it's something that the club rely on in terms of their marketing. So I'm not forgetting the other three sides of the ground, by the way, but give something back to the fans. Since 1992, ticket prices have rose over 800%. Season tickets over 800% since the inception.
At a time, Paul, when the club started making money, big money, from the TV rights.
Well,
So you'd think that the fans would be given a break, considering, especially as part of that broadcast, a large part of that broadcast is the fans. They're almost like extras in this. And if they want to look at it as an entertainment package that they sell to the TV, the fans are part of the performance.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's not just Liverpool fans, by the way. Right across the Premier League, that's what they trade on, like the atmospheres within the Premier League grounds, and Liverpool in particular are very, very fortunate that we've got the Kop, because it's the most iconic sort of terrace, or well, it's a stand now, isn't it? Like, I would say probably in world football.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, going back to what you were saying there about people knowing about the Kop. I've been not so much the world now, but Europe, and you speak to people, and you mentioned Liverpool, and they don't say they say the Kop. It's always the Kop, and you know it's a world famous. It's iconic. It's like a cathedral, and the club concentrate on that part of the ground. I've read their blurb. We were talking in fun about politics, but it is like reading a manifesto. Now, come here, you will see the Kop. We've got the Kop. Stand at sit at the Anfield Road end, in the upper Anfield Road end, or anywhere, you can see the Kop. And that's what they trade off. And bit by bit, year by year, that's coming down, that it's been diluted. And that's because the people on the Kop now, they realise that I'm talking about the likes of Paul and others that I know, many others I know, and you can feel you're being squeezed out. And I would say 10 years' time there'll be no show. The
That,
Kop will have gone from what it was to and become what I think they want it to be.
well, that's why groups like 1906 basically do all the flags, like, or the majority of the flags, like, are so important. Younger people, like, who give their all, basically, like, and help create that atmosphere on the Kop. And I always say, I remember 2 years ago when they put the prices up, and 1906 decided to not present the flags, or put the flags up when we played Atlanta, and we got beat 3-0. And the poor 1906 group got battered, like, on social media, saying it's your
Yeah,
fault.
yeah, yeah.
Now, the thing is what I'd say to every single fan, like, is it's your responsibility. Take a scarf, take a flag. It doesn't have to be this just gang of young men, like, who do it. We can all do it. You've got my t-shirt. Well, you've got an SOS t-shirt on, and our banner, support and believe. That's the one that I take into the ground. And yeah, everybody is responsible for the atmosphere. And instead of people being on the phones, basically, which I just think is absolutely madness and incredible, get behind singing. And, like, we seen against. I was saying at the weekend, I was listening to Arnie before the game, and he turned around and said, it's a big difference going down to Brighton at 12:30, like, on a Saturday afternoon, after what we've just experienced against Galatasaray. Like, in other words, he was saying the importance of the atmosphere and how it lifted the players. And yeah, we can still create fantastic atmospheres, but you know we need to do it in league games as well, not just the big ones like United and Everton and blah blah blah. Well, if you want to call Everton a big game, but that's another question. Um, well, to me, it's still the biggest game of the season when we play Everton. Like, I'm a diehard. Like, I don't care where they are. I just want to beat them beyond belief. I know a lot of Liverpool fans basically say Man United are our main sort of and obviously City have emerged. But Everton to me is the one that I always want to win.
No, the only problem I have with Everton at the moment is I can see them in the rear mirror. It's the first time that they've never been so close to us for years with the final stretch. Um, but no, I agree. People should go to the game. There should be wherever they sit in the ground, they can make noise, they can do something. But the other thing that doesn't happen at the moment hasn't happened this season, really. I'm not blaming the manager or anything like that, but the football's been mind-numbing at times, and you're sitting there thinking, please do something, get people off on the feet, but it's not happening. But Arnie, to me, sometimes I don't think he, and maybe against Galatasaray, finally appreciated what the crowd can be like, what it's really, really like when it wants to be. Because that was the backs to the wall. Let's turn this round. Let's sort this out, and the players responded. Um, but as I say, I see now where where I stand on a match day, and you see these people walking past, and they're all with the phones taking pictures of something or nothing. The most ridiculous thing. One bloke taking a picture of a tree the other day. But why you're there to watch a football match? Um, it's not there to be whatever you want to call it. You've got to go there to support a team, make a difference, and I don't
Well,
think we do that now.
well, one of the big issues, isn't it, is the youth are getting priced out. And I know they have the £9 tickets for locals. I think there's 500. Don't quote me on that, but I think there is. Um, but it's not affordable anymore, is it? You
No,
know,
no, no. Well,
us three, we've all worked and blah blah blah, and we've probably got enough money basically to afford our season tickets and be able to go to the game and that like. But when I started going, like once I started paying into the cop because my dad used to be in the Kremlin. Like, I did a paper round, got 10 pence basically, 10 pence, 10 pence around. Like, so, but you could use that money, that 70 pence that I used to get, like,
yeah, yeah,
to go and pay in to go into the cop. Like
Yeah.
now, and you'd still have a bit of change to buy a pie or something.
Or
Now,
40p to go in the boys' pen. Yeah.
yeah, so what I'm trying to say is now, like, you know, it, it's the bank of mum and dad that can only pay for young people now because 40, £50 a ticket, like it's a huge amount for young people, and also the access to those tickets, as I say.
yeah.
We see all, as I said, 17% of the ground being corporate. I think that's completely, how can I say it?
Obscene.
Yeah, it dilutes the atmosphere, and I
Yeah,
mean, you can argue obviously from a revenue perspective that they're getting more money in from that, but I mean, John Henry said when he took over Liverpool, like, we've got to do it a different way. We're not a Chelsea, we're not a Man City, we're not an Arsenal, like, and the way we're going to have to do it is by, getting sponsors and blah blah blah, and that's what they've done. Give the club credit in relation to the sponsors they've got on board. That's why
Well, the
we've
record
got.
profits show that, don't they? But they're not helping out the very fans that have built the club and the club's reputation. They're not giving them a break. They're trying to rip them off.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, if they put the prices up a couple of percent, who knows? We'll find out in the next few days. Like, what would it be? £1 million or £2 million on general ticket, like, and general admission and season tickets. Like when you're already getting 702 million.
Yeah.
Just, just,
I don't follow what other clubs do very much these days because we're ours. But you look at the women's football, and when Arsenal have got a big game, they play it at the Emirates, and they're getting 30 to 40 to 50,000 people in. We play what 2 games at Anfield, and they make a they get what 10, 15,000 if they're lucky. But I don't think the ground's used enough. It it came out of the Galatasaray. It's not home for another month for football. So if the club, and I know what they do in the summer with the concerts, they make money out of that. But they could do things like give people the chance to go inside Anfield, like with the Legends game on Sunday. There'd be 50,000 plus. But if they played a couple of academy games there, they'd get people going in. You don't have to overcharge them. You could even say parents come for pay a fiver and they can bring the kids. Do it something like that. Give people the experience of coming into Anfield. There's something I
It's,
thought about. It was after we played Man City because I got a lot of abuse after that game on social media because I said there were more tourists at Anfield than they get in Benidorm. People took exception to that because they thought I was talking about somebody coming from Birmingham or not. I said no, I'm talking about the people who come on the organised package tour trips, and there were 20 coaches parked down Nutting Avenue, and the people who got off those coaches, they'd got a tour guide. You don't if you're a Liverpool fan, you don't need a tour guide, no matter whether
yeah,
it's your first game or whatever. And
yeah. I
you know,
think that's why I was trying to make the distinction before about out of towners
yeah,
and tourists. Like basically, we've got so many fans. Basically, I- I'm lucky, aren't I? Because I live in Liverpool, so it's easy for me to get the game. But there's people traveling up from Brighton. There's people coming from Scotland. There's people flying over from Ireland, and they do it every week. And even Norway, in fairness, they're proper supporters. And there's a distinction in my mind. The tourist fans are the ones who are buying. How are they getting the tickets? Basically, they're getting them because they're paying for extortionate prices for hospitality. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, they're
yeah,
paying
yeah.
300 quid for an ordinary meal and still the same plastic seat. That's what it is.
So,
Yeah.
but there's something I thought about. It was after that Manchester City game, and I thought, well, the club today have promoted this game, and they've got all these tourists coming along. They've got all these people coming from crossing continents and all the rest of it. Why don't they have? It's very very hard to manage, but a local day where they say, right, okay, today we want the locals here. We want by that it can mean you people from London, Ireland, and that, but concentrate on specific areas. Get the people in the ground that can create rows, can create a noise. I mean, the atmosphere against Man City, it should have been scolding. It was lukewarm at best. And that's the thing. Even Manchester United now. Um, I read something in a Manchester United, an old Manchester United fanzine. Now they used to dread coming to Anfield because of the atmosphere, and they'd always button the coats up when they were walking up Anfield Road because they didn't want anyone to recognise them or people to know. And this wasn't the violent days, but that's how they felt. But now they just turn up. Yeah, it's. And you're right when you say people say, "Oh, we hate Manchester United." That's because they've been told that's how it goes. That's what to do. They're not. They don't really understand it.
You see, John, you made a really important point there about the use of the ground because the thing is Anfield is a desert. Now, I've just been to Anfield today to see my mum because she still lives in Anfield. And the thing is the businesses there, the pubs, blah blah blah, they exist on match day revenue.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
so, the more times that Anfield can be utilised, the more basically these pubs are open. If you go I walked from Sandhills today up to Anfield because my mum lives right by the ground, and uh, the only pub that's open is the church.
Yeah.
Every pub's closed down, all the chippies are shut. All that's open are corner shops, off licenses, and bookies. Like and And this is one of the points that we've tried to raise with the club in relation. I know we're going to get onto queuing and stuff like that, but anyone who goes for a pint will know, like now, you know, I normally drink basically by the ground, and the thing is like half an hour before the match now, the pub's empty. The lose
Yeah,
the impact that the queuing that they've introduced is having on the local economy, like is pretty severe, and they haven't thought about that whatsoever. I brought that up like at a supporters board meeting and said to them, like if you took that into consideration, like one of our board members, like actually turned around and said, "Is it cynical? So more of us will buy more. We'll have to have a pint in the ground before
In the
the game."
ground.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
because obviously the queuing system just it's just not working, is it? And the thing
no,
is, I
it,
know,
it, it wasn't thought through. That's my impression. Um, But instead of saying let's trial this at gates A and B just to see what the problems are. But I mean, against Tottenham, the queue to get into the Upper Anfield Road, it stretched all the way down Anfield Road. It must have been 100 yards long, and I timed it. The best time for me so far to getting in the ground was when was a few weeks ago. Might have been the West Ham game, and it took I queued to go up in the upper main. It took 16 minutes. No, sorry, 20 minutes from the Bob Paisley statue to get into the ground, and then the following time. That's right, yeah, the following time it took 16 minutes. So this guy said to me, "Well, we're getting better." I said, "Yeah, but it used to take 5." And um, against Tottenham, I had to go in up the steps to get in gate T because you now can't go up the steps at one end of the ground. You have to go through where your tickets allocated, and there were people queuing there. And I got in the ground at 20 minutes before kick-off. Forgot what time kicked off, but 20 minutes before kick-off, there were people still down on Paisley Square near the Hillsborough Memorial trying to get it into the ground. So
see,
it's just too much.
see,
Um,
this is one of the things. Like we had a supporters board meeting. Obviously, SOS created the supporters board. There are obviously other groups on it as well, and obviously we meet quarterly with the club. Now, before obviously the first game was Crystal Palace when he introduced the queue and the ones and all of the rest of the business. But 2 weeks prior to that, the head of security for Liverpool had come to do a presentation to the supporters board, about it was about security in Europe and what they do basically to help protect fans and all that. And in fairness, they really do the best, in very difficult circumstances because of different policing systems abroad. Now, he never said anything to the supporters board. That's what the supporters board is supposed to be there for. It's a sounding board. That in 2 weeks' time, they're going to be introducing 100% body searches. And I found that astounding. And I said to him, we had another meeting in January, and I said about, he begs to differ because I said, the system's just not working in relation to, we're all getting wandered and everybody's buzzing. We're all going off left, right, and centre, aren't we? Then they just say, take your keys out. Like, then they just let you go through anyway. You could have anything in your pocket. But the issue is that obviously Martin's Law was introduced after the terrible Manchester bombing, and Martin's Law says that organisations are responsible for whatever level of security that they want to put in place. So there's 6 other clubs across the Premier League who are doing the same. The other, what is it? 11 basically are not doing 100% searches. This is a Liverpool directive. The they said they are exploring ways of trying to make it easier, potentially like employing more stewards. I don't know how that would work. Like and potentially exploring whether they could put additional turnstiles in. Whether that'll work, I don't know. But to me, and I think every other single fan who's going the game, it's a real point of frustration. And the club don't seem to, they're not going to budge. It's as simple as
No.
that. They're not going to budge. They're going to carry on. Like, and they make no bones about that. But I say, like, the supporters board's supposed to be there for consultation, and like, um, I just don't think that they listen.
Paul, you say the supporters board is supposed to be there, and Spirit of Shankly helps support this thing up. There's talk that SOS could be withdrawing from the supporters board. Is that true?
There was a motion put forward at the AGM about withdrawing from the supporters board. It was put on by an SOS member who was actually on the supporters board. Who was, really frustrated with what he was seeing, and that was going to go to a vote, and because we're a democratic organisation, so we've got a voting system, and everybody would have been sent a link basically to vote whether they wanted to stay or leave. Keith, the fella who put it forward, good lad, like been in SOS right from the very start, couldn't make the AGM, so he wanted to do something online, like to talk about his reasoning, but due to some personal circumstances, that couldn't go ahead. Funny enough, all linked to the bloody war in Iran. But anyway, we had things to think about. He ended up basically withdrawing that, so that's not going to be put forward. The supporters board as a concept, a brilliant thing, and we set it up after the obviously the debacle of the European Super League. And but the thing is, the club need to listen. We're not there just to be nodding dogs. They need to listen to. We put reason arguments forward. If we go back to ticket pricing, I've gave it a few there why they shouldn't put it up. Like simply the monetary sort of gains they're going to get, like a minimal. We'll find out, as I said, in the next day or two, a couple of days, what they've decided to do. But I'm not hopeful that they've listened, and that begs the question of, why are we in the room? To me,
Right now, do you think the club see SOS as a friend or a foe of the club?
Well, obviously the supporters board with SOS. I mean, we're there to challenge any decision that we feel is not right for supporters. That's what we were formed to do. The SOS was formed, to oust the terrible ownership of Hicks and Gillette, which obviously not just SOS, but other groups and other fans basically played a great part in helping that happen. But then obviously there have been other campaigns supporting 1906 and being, the 77-minute walkout, and they backtracked on that, didn't they? We managed to get the money back for fans who bought tickets for the debacle of the Champions League final. And there's loads of different things. What a lot of people don't realise about SOS is all of the unsung work that goes on. People come to us about, if they've had banning orders, issues with tickets. Sometimes it feels like you're the ticket office. Why aren't you talking? They're not getting anywhere, and they see SOS as an opportunity and a vehicle basically to help support them, and that's what we try to do. Yeah.
What are you most proud of about SOS during your time as chair?
I think the community activity that we've set up, a lot of people don't see basically what SOS do. For example, we've set up a debt and welfare advice service from Home Baked, and um, we've got one in Toxteth on Lodge Lane now, and we've managed to get people access to £1.1 million worth of benefits that they deserved. That's with working in partnership with Vauxhall Law Centre. We've set up music, arts and drama classes for young people. We've got the Shankly Cup, where we're bringing together teams, young people basically from Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and obviously Liverpool, like to celebrate the great man and understand different communities better. Obviously, we've got. I think you and John have been to the pensioners party that we do. Like so, what we're trying to do is Shankly, was a great man, great football manager. He got us and we got him. And the thing is that he loved the people. And in the last 3 years, like we've really ramped up what we're trying to do to help people. Obviously, we've got the food pantry as well that we do in partnership with Fan Support and Food Banks. I'm on the board of that as well, where we put £40,000 in, basically to help feed people who need it the most. So far, I think basically the pantry that we run, which is in Tochi, we fed just over 50,000. But with Fan Support and Food Banks, we run 8 across the city, and we're actually feeding or providing food for 2,500 people per week now, which you could argue is an unbelievable achievement because we rely on donations, match day donations, and kind sponsors, and blah blah blah. But it's just a shame that fan support and food banks exists. The day that it doesn't exist anymore will be a great day because it will mean that the society is fairer and people are able to go out and buy things for themselves and blah blah blah. It's just about helping people who need it the most. And the great thing with SOS as well is, if you say about things that I'm proud of, is we work in partnership with so many different organisations. So like the Greenhouse Project, Vauxhall Law Centre, the church. Obviously we worked with John at Red all over the land. We've created a great collaboration over the last 3 years, I think, John. It's all about, I always use a Gil Scott-Heron quote, nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. And it's a mantra that I use all the time. So the thing is that, with the music, arts and dance, for example, we're employing local people, we're pumping money back into the local economy, as well as, so again, these organisations are helping basically SOS to deliver services. We're just in a fortunate position that we can, afford to pay these organisations, and then obviously to stop exploit loyalty campaign, which I explained before, the ticket freeze and affordable football, and the attack on concessions, protect the match day culture. There's an actual, I'll just show you this if anybody wants a copy. There's a blueprint which we produced. Our own Gareth Roberts worked with the Football Supporters Association, and some of the guys went down to Parliament in November to the all-party parliamentary football group, basically to present it. Because it's not just Liverpool who are suffering. Right across the football spectrum in the Premier League, anyway, and I'm sure basically in the lower leagues, but definitely in the Premier League. They're pricing out, the lifeblood of the game, and so we've created this blueprint about potentially how we feel that the club should address the issues that I've just outlined there, and we want the clubs to do the right thing. That's the key thing, isn't it? Do the right thing, protect what you've created or what we've created, and the proof will be in the pudding. But at the moment, the direction itself is not great, is it?
And the stuff you
I
did,
just
and
think,
sorry, John, it just as I think we should also mention the aftermath of the Paris debacle as well. SOS did a lot of work there to help fans, didn't they, Paul?
Yeah, basically SOS. Obviously, we got the like Joe Blotter, who's the chair before me, and Ted Morris from the LDSA. You know, went over to the Senate. I think the first foreigners allowed in or something. Basically, like, and made the case against the lies that were spoken about. All the tickets and like the fans misbehaving and blah blah blah. And we got an apology, didn't we, from UEFA? We got an apology from the French government. It just smacked the Hillsborough all over again, didn't it? Like, massive cover up. But it says something, doesn't it? Like that, you know, over 30 years later, like, 30, 36, 37, this is the 37th year, isn't it? Hillsborough. The families are still fighting. Yeah. After the
yeah,
Paris, well, it took a year or two basically to get, a government and UEFA to acknowledge that they were wrong. But like people still, like now, I know how hard the families are fighting, and my good friend, the Right Honourable Ian Byrne for West Derby, who's on the SOS Management Committee and one of the founders of Fan Support Food Banks, is fighting so hard to get the Hillsborough law through Parliament.
yeah,
Like, and that's basically not, it's to help protect like other poor people, or you know, like the Grenfell people, and the blood, the there was an issue with blood, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah,
and
and
a
then
lot
there's
of,
the post office scandal. It covers everything.
yeah. So it's there. You can't. How can you say it? Those people have been fighting for all those years. Like, they're trying to use a negative to create a positive to try and like stop things like this happening again. And all credit to all those people. And obviously, we've also, Ian Burns drove the Real Truth Legacy Project, which is an education program um, for young people about Hillsborough and how it happened and why it happened and the cover up, and basically like how to organise campaigns and like where it's heading, and like he's looking to try and get that on a national curriculum. Um, I sort of helped there because my background's education, and I had a lot of contacts with the Liverpool Learning Partnership, and we reached out and we realised that there was a lot of schools who were teaching about Hillsborough in school, but there wasn't one sort of like definitive like sort of lesson plan. And fortunately enough, we brought those teachers together and they've helped curate it, and the foundation are now delivering it like to schools across the city, and yeah, and we've delivered it in other cities as well. It's a really important educational tool, and really proud of what Ian's done there, and give the foundation a due as well, basically taking it on, because one of the things about sensitive history is my background. I've worked on sensitive histories in terms of doing stuff for the International Slavery Museum, helping them to create the education program. And you're probably thinking, well, where's the synergy there? Well, when you're teaching sensitive histories, it's not like teaching maths. It's not an exact science. Like, so the thing is, you've got to be prepared for emotional responses. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to be equipped to be able to deal with those emotional responses. And what you'll find is, like, it's like when, like, the transatlantic slave trade was put on the curriculum in 2007. Like, a lot of teachers shied away because it was optional, but because, it created a lot of, how can I say it, like debate and reaction. And like, so it's important that you've got people trained up who can, especially with Hillsborough and doing it in Liverpool, because, you know, you're probably going to get grandkids like whose parents or or basically grandfathers and grandmothers basically who've been affected by Hillsborough, so you don't know how they're going to react when you're delivering that session. And we have Hillsborough survivors who also go along and basically talk about their experiences, and then the likes of myself and some other people. I was lucky at Hillsborough because I swapped my ticket. If you remember rightly, you were given, although I've always been a copite, you were given an option, weren't you? Because I knew how bad like the Leppens Lane was. So, and because we only had so many amounts of tickets, I took basically a ticket for the stand. So fortunately enough, basically I wasn't involved. I wasn't involved in the crush. I was very, very fortunate. But obviously a lot of people weren't as fortunate. So to go along and talk about, like my experience as well, like that I was lucky, and yeah, so it's a really good thing that's been developed, and it's from an academic perspective, it's been fully supported by Phil Scratton as well. Um, so yeah, so
Yeah, no, it's tremendous work. John?
I just think that the Spirit of Shankly, the union, have done so much for the fans, and they don't get the credit they deserve. I mean, I do read social media because I'm part of the fanzine thing. But they'll say, people will go on there saying, well, they've not done us any favours because look at the team we've got. No, they can't buy the players. Um, but it's true. Can't you get rid of him or anything like that? But that's social media.
no,
Uh,
this is the thing. Like I get quite a few emails, basically. Like I got one the other week of blueprints, basically, like on how Arnie Slot can turn it around. And like people have this misconception that we're dealing with football matters.
all powerful.
We're here to support fans and the fan experience. We're not
Yeah.
here to comment on the match. Like the likes of your fanzine can do that, but we tend to shy away. I've had a request today, basically, from a newspaper to do a thing on Mo Salah, but we won't do it because we're not here to comment on players. We're here to basically like to try to look after the supporters the best that we can. We're not here to comment about Arnie Slot. Like as I said, we're here to try and protect fans and fan culture.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like is that you're our voice in that. I don't see the other fan groups in the same way as I see the Spirit of Shankly. I see the SOS as our voice, my voice. They will be the people who go in there, if you like, stir a few things up, get not agitate anything, but stir up a few things. Try to get the club thinking. Well, we should be actually doing something for this group of people, um, because without you, I mean, not just ticket prices would have soared, but we wouldn't be the focal point, of things. People, if I was speaking to some group some weeks ago, and I said, had Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal, Sunderland, Newcastle walked out, protested about a ticket rise, I said, be here today, gone tomorrow. I said, they still talk about the 77th minute walkout because it were Liverpool fans. Liverpool fans protesting in front of the world about something. And that hit home. I mean, I can remember going back to Hicks and Gillette when that idiot who used to be on Sky, Jim White, said, "Oh, the fans should forget about the owners and support the team." Well, this is what we're doing, and this is what this union is all about. This is trying to make people aware of just what's going on behind the scenes at Liverpool, and it worked. Yeah, it worked. The union was born out of that, and thank God.
Yeah, just basically on the ticket price, and obviously as I said, we'll find out in the coming days. But if it doesn't go as like if it goes like we expect it to do, um, we'll be obviously we'll be releasing a statement if let's see what the club basically
Yeah,
come out
yeah,
with.
yeah,
Um, Hopefully it's positive and we can release a positive statement that they've listened. If they don't, basically we'll be releasing a statement like to counter that. But what we also want to do is like basically set up like an online meeting, like and maybe a mass meeting if it goes the wrong way,
yes, yeah,
like, to try and get. Because the biggest thing, like, there's a lot of apathy, like, and what we need to do. This club responds like what you turned around and said, like to action. So the
yeah,
thing is that we need to mobilise people basically to do things. Like it can't just be the same old people all the time. We need basically more people, more activists. Like everyone can see what's going on. Your fanzine features it all the time. Like we can all see the direction football's taken. Well, let's do something about it. It's our game.
yeah, yeah,
It's our game. Like
yeah.
so, don't let them take it away from us.
I mean, I read something again. It was on social media, admittedly, and I don't know who these people are, but I got the impression uh, they'd been born, bred inside Goodison, so they lived and breathed Everton, and they're now saying that they go to the new ground, the Hickory Dickory Dock, and um, they've got day trippers coming along. Which they didn't have that. They possibly had a few, but now they can see it. They can see what's changed, and they're saying their support's being diluted. They have to do fireworks shows for them, and but heaven forbid we do that at Anfield. I didn't
Well,
like it. I didn't like it against Crystal Palace. So, uh,
I'd imagine, like, I don't know enough about Everton, but I'd imagine probably like their sort of revenue model, there'll be a lot like at Anfield, which will be hospitality. So the
yeah,
thing is, you're gonna basically get like there'll be people who can afford it, like so, but they tend to be people from abroad, I would say, like so that there's no way paying £500 for a ticket to watch a game. If you look at the indices of multiple deprivation, which is the government measure of basically classifying areas that are poor, like Anfield's in the top 1%, and so's Vauxhall, where Everton's ground is. Um, you know, two of the poorest areas in the whole country. Like, and Liverpool's the third in terms of cities. We've got the third highest number of boroughs, or sorry, areas of multiple deprivation. So the thing is that that's another reason which we try to say to the club. You know, we're not living in a like London round Arsenal where basically Chelsea, whoever, Tottenham, where it's more affluent. Like we're living in an area where deprivation is high. The government say
yeah.
that. So therefore, it's really important that the club recognise that and try to keep the prices affordable. To be honest, I think they've got a moral responsibility to do that as the custodians of the club. But as I said, we'll see what happens over the next couple of days.
But I think it's very sad. This is football in general. That nowadays you can't take a 15-year-old to a game. No, a 15-year-old can't get up and go to a game on his own.
Mm.
I think that's not what football was all about. It was getting up on a Saturday morning and thinking I'll go to a game. Now we know we know what's changed, but why can't people go? Why can't they have an area where kids can go and stand or sit, as it would be now, on their own? Not recreate the boys' pen, but an area. But they have to have the parents with them. Why?
Well, one of the things that we're talking to the club about now, basically, is a young person section in the Anfield Road. So we'll see how that progresses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Because obviously, 2,000 of the seats, as it stands at the moment in the Anfield Road, are corporate. Well, you see it, don't you? Basically, if you look at
Oh,
half time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
A
half
couple of
time.
minutes before half time, and then the 10 minutes after half time. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's embarrassment. I mean,
yeah,
I put it in a recent fanzine about no, it's going to be the next one. I tell a lie about going back possibly 15. Well, when Arsenal moved to the new ground, and they had that what they termed the ring of indifference at the top, where all the corporates used to disappear before half time and didn't come back until long after it. And we mocked them, but now
yeah,
we're the same. We've got the same. You can see people disappearing um,
Well,
10 minutes before half time. Why?
see, one of the arguments that the club put is like we've got to stay in line, like to compete with the Arsenal's, Chelsea's, Man United's, blah blah blah, and that's why they're considering like ticket price rises, like here. But as we know, that it's just ticket prices basically they're not irrelevant, but basically in terms of income, like I think. The income last year, according to Liverpool, for general admission and season tickets was 42 million. Yeah, basically the overall revenues was 702. So as a percentage, it's very, very low, isn't it?
yeah,
So why basically you know why punish fans? Basically, like who've created what the club is. And so that argument doesn't wash with, well, not just with me, basically with SOS and the supporters board, like that we need to keep, you know, if Man U put them up 5% or Arsenal, we need to basically follow that model. No, our argument is we're Liverpool, we are Liverpool, and we should be doing it different.
Yeah.
Like we pride ourselves in like being like a socialist club, like where a big family where people look after each other. And like, as I said, I'll repeat it because it's dead important, whether you're a socialist or whether you're not. But as Shank said, it's about everyone working for each other. It's everyone sharing the rewards. And
Yes,
like,
agreed. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what the great man said. And all we're saying to the club is exactly that. Like, that's what you should do. And let's see whether they do the right thing or not, right?
yeah.
Well,
Let's see, Paul.
I'll just go back to what you were saying earlier. The club trade off. They don't just trade off the cop. They trade off Shankly. They hold him up, and this was the founder member of the founding father of the modern Liverpool, and they're going now against his principles. That's that's what annoys me. But this is where we need the spirit of Shankly. This is where we need them shouting louder. Is because the thing is now. I find this with the fanzine. People don't care. There's a lot of them fans now. They don't care. They don't. Somebody asked me at a game the other week, where was the Kenny Dalglish statue? Not stand, statue. I said he hasn't got one. They said, well, where's the one of the Scotsmen? I said, oh, you mean Shankly? And and that was it. And these were I don't know 25, 30 year olds maybe. They didn't. They thought Kenny Dalglish had got a statue. And I says, how many times have you been here? He says, oh, it's the first game. I said, oh, okay, I thought so. And but you speak to them and they don't know. It's not just the football club. It's the city of Liverpool and what the city of Liverpool represents, and that's what people should. You got your education from the cop. We need to re-educate people, and we need to get them joining up with the union so they can have their voice heard. But as I say, there's so many people now they don't want to know. But you're talking about local businesses. This season's been our sales on the fanzine are over 1,000 down from last season, and possibly nearly 1,500 down on last season. And that's the fans, because people now. I'm not criticising people who come from overseas. The people who come from Ireland are fantastic, and I love every one of them. But you get people who used to come up from, say, Wrexham and buy a fanzine because that didn't matter. They were all right. But you get somebody coming over from Warsaw, they're not going to speak English, so they're not buying a fanzine, and they're not going to be in there lending their support to the SOS. Not in the same way. I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed, but things have got to change. We've got to retain what Liverpool is all about. That is the city and the football club. The football club and the city, whichever way people want to do it. And the club, if they keep pricing the people out, that's going to die, and very soon.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Paul, how do people get in touch and become members of SOS?
Well, you can just go onto the website and basically you can join directly. Um, yeah, you can just pay by card. It's £10 a year, like, which I think is really good. And like obviously that goes to support any campaigning that we do, and all the community work that I've already basically outlined that we deliver. Um, yeah, that's the way to do it. And I just want to say about Red All Over the Land as well, because I know we're drawing to a close now. Like, but I'd implore basically all supporters basically to crack a magazine, to buy it. Like, it's really important, basically, like, because it's grassroots, like it's real people, like, and there's no spin. You know, you get basically what people think, and that's really important. And the relationship that we've developed in the last 3 years, like I said, John, I think has been like really, really good. Like, and delighted to call you and Graham friends. So thank you.
No,
Thank you for
you.
coming on, Paul. And before we wrap up, I know you're not going to speak on behalf of Spirit of Shankly here, because we're going to talk quickly just about some of the stuff that's going on the pitch. So as Paul Khan, I hope you can join in on a bit of this, Paul. Mo Salah, what are we thinking there? The abdication of the Egyptian king. John?
Personally, we've seen abdications now over the last 60 years, 70 years. Players come and go. Mo will never be forgotten. Like Torres, who walked out on us, but Steven Gerrard. These are the players. They're part of the fabric, and that is where Mo is. But Mo's going to go. He was always going to go one day. You know, maybe hindsight, he should have gone at the end of last season in the Blaze of Glory. You know, down the Strand on his. He could have had a bus on his own, and you know, it'd have been loved. But he's 35, isn't he now? You know, he's bloody fit and all the rest of it. I think this is the first time I've known him to actually miss football through an injury picked up at Liverpool. The man's a legend, and he will always be a legend. Um, I don't want him to go out in the same way Steven Gerrard went out under Brendan, because I thought that was poor. I want him to go out in a blaze of glory. Um, Maybe too much to ask that he goes out with a bit of silverware. We can hope, can't we? We can dream.
Support
But
and
yeah,
believe.
eh?
So support and believe.
Support and believe, yeah. But I just think, me personally, I've seen some great footballers, not just at Liverpool, over the 70 plus years I've watched the game, and Mo Salah's up there with the best of them. You know, not the best, but he's certainly up there. And we as Liverpool fans, I think we should be proud that we've actually witnessed this player. But let's also remember that Liverpool helped make Mo Salah. Maybe Jurgen Klopp did them more than most. But yeah, what a footballer, what a player.
Paul?
Yeah, speaking as Paul Kahn, just to
Yeah.
um, I mean, he's just been unbelievable. I mean, his powers have definitely waned this year. Like that could be because of the system, blah blah blah. But he hasn't looked the same player. I wasn't overly happy with what he said. Like after the Leeds game, and I noticed like on the red all over the land headlines was the real King Kenny. Nobody's bigger than the club, and but what he's achieved and what he's given us has been absolutely amazing. I mean, just in the context of what you've got to remember about Salah is his goal output. He's not a centre forward. He's a right winger. It's unprecedented. It's unprecedented in football, I'd probably say. I don't think, Messi and like plays more central and like Ronaldo, yeah, fair enough. Like, Thierry Henry played more central. Like Salah is a winger. Like, and in all the years I've been going, I mean, John Barnes in his first like 4 years, like I think got just over 90 goals, like from the left wing. But he went up front sometimes. We'll never see the likes of him again, I don't think. Like, I hope we do. Like, I hope the young kids which I think we all want to play, like on the left wing, like, turn into a monster like him. But he's gave us great service, and I'm disappointed we're not getting a fee, but knowing the Liverpool sort of finance people, they'll have worked everything out. It must be more beneficial because of his wages. Like,
Yeah,
but because obviously I thought with the 2 year deal, we'd see how it goes over the year, and then if it wasn't working out on both sides, we'd sell him. Like, but obviously we're not going to get a fee, and like obviously we've got to replace him, which the club will probably try and justify if there's a price rise.
but I just think with Mo, you look at things like you can go back you can go back to the days when we had Shankly and his team with St John and Hunt. I mean, then there was Keegan and Toshak. You had Kenny and Rushy, all those other combinations as well. But when I look back now and I think back to the times I've watched football, never in my life have I witnessed Sadio Mane, Bobby Firmino, and Mo Salah. That was like Graham knows my love of the Beatles. That were like they were that was how they were. They were the best in the world. We were lucky. We had the best three players in the world at the peak of their career playing for us, our side at the same time, and that to me it's pure magic. It's it's what people of tomorrow's generation will only read about it. We here tonight and the thousands that's filled the Cop and the rest of Anfield during the past 10 years witnessed it, and that's something else. They can't they can't take your memories away. That's something else, and just witnessing them three, and nothing goes on forever. But wow, weren't we lucky? Weren't we
Yeah.
lucky?
Yeah. Okay. One last thing, guys. Danny Murphy says Liverpool's sacking slot is inevitable. Is he right, Paul?
Yeah, I hope not. I think to myself, it just shows you that there's no patience in the game. Like, Shanks went 6 years without a trophy. Like, I don't remember people calling for his head. Like, in this day and age, after 5 games, basically, like, everyone's like thinking, wow. And I agree with John. Basically, the football hasn't been great, but there's been mitigating circumstances, I think, behind that as well. Like, obviously, injuries, loss of form. Nobody thought Mo would drop off like he has. I think the Diaz sale has really backfired on us because alternating Diaz and Gapco, like on that left wing, that's been a big thing for me. Like last year, I think we scored 70 from the right and left. Because if you remember Darwin and obviously Diego, he didn't score a lot of goals, the centre forward, but we were scoring from out wide. We're not scoring from out wide at all now. Like, it's very, it's a rare occurrence. Like, and I just think, I don't know, I'm one of these fans, like, besides Roy Hodgson, like, I definitely wanted Roy Hodgson to go, and Souness for different reasons, like, but um, I'd say to, as I say, support and believe. That's what I believe in. So I know a lot of supporters will probably say, "What the friggin' hell's he going on about? He needs to go." But not for me, as it stands at the moment.
It's like some fans have forgotten that he won the title last season, was still in the European Cup, and was still in the FA Cup.
Well, that's it. I mean, we could win the Champions League. Basically, we could. I mean, we couldn't have had.
And he could still get sacked.
Well, there's every likelihood if Liverpool don't qualify for the Champions League, like obviously I have certain insight into basically like the financial model that Liverpool have got, and was the sole reliance on the Champions League. Like it's pretty unbelievable. Now, when Kenny nearly did the FA Cup and League Cup double in 2011, was it?
Yeah.
Like he won the League Cup and we got beaten in the FA Cup final. But he didn't get in the Champions League and he was sacked, and that's a club legend. Like, it's all about the money, man. It's not about the football so much anymore, I don't think. Like, yeah, I think that either they win the European Cup and we have another year, and if he wins the European Cup, basically, well, you'd be mad to, you'd have to give him another year, I'd say. But if he doesn't get in the Champions League, knowing the way I think the owners think, that there'll be a big decision to make in the summer.
I personally, I would not sack Arne Slot, and there have been mitigating circumstances. We shouldn't forget, but sadly people do, like what happened in the summer with the tragedy. That stopped Liverpool working. You know the whole club shut down. Um, I do believe that we would have signed a centre half very quickly. I think that was all going, all in progress, but it didn't happen because the club, as I say, shut down. But the one, if I've got a criticism of Arnie's football, is mind numbing at times. So I will say that. But I don't think he helps himself because some of the things he comes out and says, I think, hey, hold back a bit. You know, we're not playing well. Just admit it. Well, he did. He said it's been his hardest season. But you don't second. Why? Why do you? I mean, has it helped Chelsea sacking their manager? Has it helped Tottenham, West Ham, Nottingham Forest? All these have sacked the managers during the season. It doesn't help. You don't get. You might get new manager syndrome working for you, but you got to think carefully about it. And if Liverpool were going to do anything, maybe it should have thought about it in November. Not now, not now. And it's always nice to hear Danny Murphy's comments, though. Yeah, I mean, he didn't like. One of the criticisms he had of Rafa was that Rafa didn't do anything like go-kart racing with the lads, or something along those lines. So, but Danny's, he's paid to do these things now. He's going to say things. Um, I must admit, on Saturday, I wasn't at the game. Obviously, I was in Cadiz, and when I read that Hugo had gone off after 5 minutes and we didn't put a forward on, I found that a bit odd. But yeah, we've got what we've got. We've won. We won the league last season. But talking about the top four finish, I can remember it was when Manchester United still got Ferguson there. They didn't budget to win the league. They budgeted a top four finish or top three, maybe it was then. Top four. They got into the Champions League. That was their bread and butter. That's where their money come from. To buy the next chain of players. And yeah, we need to be in it. That's unfortunate, but that's modern football. You know, um, the days when you won the FA Cup, and you could say, well, we've had a great season. We've had been to Wembley, won the FA Cup. Aren't we great? We've had a tour around the city with a trophy. We win the FA Cup. I don't think they'll even bother. You know, they might show it off at Anfield the following week, but that's it. Newcastle had a parade last year because they won the League Cup, but that's because the last time they won anything, the Jarrah Marches were in. But
Yeah.
look at that club there, and Eddie House clinging to his job, and they've been embarrassed, not just by Sunderland, but by Barcelona and things like that. They might not finish in the top half of the division. Now that's crisis. That's critical for them because they've got all this money behind them from wherever. No, you got. I said in the second fanzine of the season, I said Liverpool had invested all this money. That wasn't for this season. That's for the future, and we'll see what happens. I agree with Paul. So we should have sorted the Diaz deal out differently. He went. We sold Kwanzaa too quickly. We should have been looking at other ways, getting things sorted out first. But that's not the manager. That's the people behind the scenes. They acted, and I still can't believe that we can't find a place for Harvey Elliott at our club. But maybe who knows? But never mind. That's perfect.
That's it. That's football, John. All right. Well, that just about wraps it up. Live events, John, read all over the land. Famous for live events. Big Joey Jones night coming up in Wales soon, April the 2nd.
In Wrexham, just over the border. Joey Jones was. I'm sure Paul remembers the tattoo.
I remember them getting off the 26 and me getting an autograph of him.
So what a player. And my view on the Joey Jones, I don't think Liverpool did him great service when he passed away. So this night in Wrexham is to honour Joey Jones, tribute to his memory, and the Spirit of Shankly are coming along en bloc, and we've got Mickey Thomas there, who used to play for Wrexham, a bit of a character, as I'm sure everybody knows. We got Davy Fairclough, who played in the same team as him, Sammy Lee, who was a good friend of Joey's, and I do believe Martin Kelly, who played for Liverpool up until just after Kenny left. And also Stephen Wright, who played in the team that won the treble. He didn't play in the final or get in the final squad, but he was in the club then. So we've got a few people there, and they've all got Joey Jones stories. So we're hoping.
And there are a few tickets left for that one, aren't there? Not many, but there are a few if you're quick.
We can get in touch through the website, which is on there. And hopefully we're going to have a real good night. Hopefully everything goes good. And unfortunately, we were going to have some of Wrexham's current staff there, but I believe they're playing a big match the following day, so they can't now because the kick-off time has been switched. So it's not just at Liverpool that we get kick-off time switched. They've had one as well.
All right, and then there's the golf day at Woolton after that, isn't there? A couple of weeks after that.
Yes, we're working on that. A bit harder work on that, but we'll get there.
Okay, all the details at redallovertheland.com.
Yeah.
Paul Kahn from Spirit of Shankly, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been great seeing you, great to talk to you as always, and keep up the good fight.
Yeah, can I just say, listen, thank you very much for giving SOS a platform basically to talk about what we do. And yeah, basically, like, let's keep this relationship going with Red All Over the Land and SOS, two grassroots organisations. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak about what the union does.
Thanks, Paul. And John Pearman, thank you very much for 30 years of Red All Over the Land. Get yourself subscribed if you can't buy it at the match, or you don't go to the match, or it's available in Bold Street, News from Nowhere, sell it, all kinds of other places as well. John Pearman. Sorry, John. Yep.
I just want to say to Paul, since you've been the chair, we've got to know each other. We've worked together, and I feel really proud that we do this. And I just wish we could get more support from the grassroots ourselves. But we're right behind you and everything you do. You are the voice of the fans inside a room where we can't get. That is the club.
Thank you.
So
John,
thank you.
Paul, and everyone who's watching and listening around the world, thank you very much. And remember, as always, you'll never walk alone.
Thank you.